Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Susan's Just Making It. I'm Susan and I'm here making stuff, messes, chaos, and just making it through life. While you're here, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, comment, might as well hit that red subscribe button and the notification bell so you know every time I upload a new video. In today's video, we will be making a stacked hair bow barrette. It has 4 layers, spikes, a large bow, a loop, a smaller bow, and an embellishment. And I am going to be putting this on a barrette today. You can put it on a headband if that works better for you, but this is what I'm doing today. So the materials you're going to be needing are a hot glue gun and hot glue sticks. You're going to need a barrette or a headband. You're going to need a pair of scissors, a lighter to singe the end of your ribbon so it doesn't fray. You're also going to need a ruler to measure out your ribbon. You're going to need a needle and thread, which I already threaded mine so that the video is not super long because it takes me forever to thread a needle anymore. And the thread that I like to use is an upholstery thread. It's gonna last much better than a cotton thread. It's not gonna snap, and you're gonna want to put, tug on a little bit to cinch your ribbon, so this works much better. This is a Coats & Clark, and it has a purple label. So if you're shopping for thread, look for your purple label. I believe I purchased this at Walmart, and it costs $2 or $3 for a spool. So there's that. You're also going to need ribbon in the following widths. I am going to be doing a Minnie Mouse theme, so that'll explain the colors. This is a 1.5 width ribbon, which you're going to use for this, your bigger bow, 1.5 inch. You're going to need 2 different ribbons at 7/8 of an inch. I selected this. I'll be using this to make the spikes, and I chose this at 7/8 that I'm going to use for this part of the bow. Usually I pick out a novelty or printed ribbon for this part, but I didn't have anything that I liked to go with the embellishment, so I just chose white. But this is where you'd usually use your prettier, fancier printed ribbon. You're also going to need some ribbon at 3/8 of an inch, and I use this for the loop. And you're also going to need a little bit at 3/8 of an inch to wrap around the bow to kind of hold it together and attach it to your barrette. You're also going to need an embellishment of some sort to fancy it up. You don't have to have one, but they look a little plain without one. And today I'm going to be using this button with Minnie Mouse. And I'm going to show you how to remove the shank off the back to make it flat so that you can glue it onto your bow. All of the materials that I use that I can remember where I purchased them, I will link in the description box if you want to go there and purchase similar items. I'm not an affiliate with anywhere that I purchase this. I just put the links in there to make it more convenient for you to find the materials. I did want to share with you a few of the embellishments that I use for my hair bows so that you can see that you can use more than one thing. Today I am using a button, and I just purchased a lot of my buttons right at Walmart in the craft section by the sewing supplies. I just grabbed a handful to show you some of the variety that you can find. These usually run, I would say, $2 to $3 a package. And here's just some. I have a lot more, but just goes to show you like some of the variety that you can find depending on what you want to do. Maybe for a little baby girl here. Some Minnie Mouse. This just happens to be what I grabbed out of my box. So, depending on how many buttons, like for instance, this has 5. So there's for 5 hair bows. And you can find so many different themes. Another thing that I use for my embellishment. Sorry for rattling around here. I'm just trying to get to some stuff. I found these on Etsy, and if I can find the seller, if they still have their shop, I will link them. They are just little flat back resins. As you can see, they're just flat resin pieces, and I believe I purchased a couple variety packs. The seller has a lot of different things. Disney. I have the Shopkins. There was I bought a pack, I think, with Minnie Mouse. I have Peppa Pig. A few other things. Let me just get these out of the way. So that's an option. Flat back resins. I really like using them. I also purchased some of these, I believe, on, oops, excuse me for hitting the camera there, on Amazon. These are just little resin shapes, and I'll try to find a couple links to those. I think these are a few different packages that I purchased, and you can get quite a lot in a package, so I'll try to find those and link those. They're a little bit smaller. I usually use these on my smaller bows that I make, but really cute. So I'll try to find those and link them. So that's another option. And I have one more option that I use a lot. And you could probably even use just a regular button if you have some buttons that are cute enough in your little button stash. Everybody's got a tin of buttons floating around, I'm sure. And these are just little gem shapes that I purchased at just a craft store over with the jewelry making stuff, and they're bling. And once in a while you can also find them at the Dollar Tree, a package of them at the Dollar Tree. So that's another thing that you can use for your embellishment. I also wanted to show you that this is what I use to remove the shanks off the back of the buttons. I found this on Amazon. Again, I'll link it if I can find it. And you just snip, so it's just a little cutter, and you just snip them right off. So we'll be using that today. So I went ahead and cut some of my ribbon down to size ahead of time just to save time today. But for your spikes, you're going to need 5 pieces of the 7/8 ribbon. These I already cut and singed. 5 pieces of 7/8 ribbon cut at let's see, 12 centimeters or 4 3/4 inches. At the beginning of the video, I'm going to try to have a list of all your materials with the sizes to cut these down to make it easier if you want to screenshot it or jot the information down to use later. So these I cut to cut the little V's. I just fold it in half. Let's see, and then I'm trying to get it somewhat straight. Fold it in half, and then I take the scissors and cut from the inside out at an angle, and there you have it. Same thing with the other end, where you're going to just fold it in half like so and cut it as a V. Try to do it the same depth on both sides, so you don't have a deep V and then a shallow V. It might take practice a couple times if you haven't done crafting similar to this before. So then you take your lighter and you just lightly singe it, just so it doesn't fray later on, especially these, because they're not going to be sewn down on the end. So there's 5 of those. And then your wider ribbon. This is the 1.5 inch ribbon, and this is cut 2 pieces at 20 centimeters or 8 inches. So there's 2 of those, and I already singed them. The other 7/8 inch, you're going to cut at, let's see, 18 centimeters or 7 inches for these. Then the ones that you do your loops with in the 3/8 inch ribbon, you're going to cut at 22 centimeters or 8 3/4 inches. And like I said, I'll have all these measurements listed. So there's that. And then the other 7/8, you don't have to cut right now. This is at the end. It doesn't have to be cut to size, but you'll just need it toward the end. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the shank off this so that it's ready as we go along, and I don't have to do it later. On the shank cutter, one side's going to be kind of flat and the other one's going to be kind of angled. You want to take the flat side and snug it right up as close as you can to the button, and then just snip, and it pops right off, and it went across the room, so I'll have to pick that up later. So there you go, and it's nice and flat to glue on. So the first thing we're going to do is make the spikes. So you're going to need those 5 pieces that you cut down and angled. Get the scissors out of the way. I don't need those for right now. So what I do is I take them and I stack them right up on top of each other. You're just going to want to stack them. And if your measurements aren't super exact, it's not going to really matter that much. I see the one I stacked below, this is a little bit shorter, but it's not going to make or break the hair bow. You're going to want to try to get them as close, but if you don't, it's not that huge of a deal. So needle and thread, I fold it in half so I can kind of tell where the middle is. Let's see if I get all layers. Then I go from the back to the, oops, I still didn't get them all straightened out. The back to the front, about the middle, and just put the, let's see if I can do it a little bit better, right up through there. Then you're going to want to fan them out like so. Make a fan. Let's see if I can get under here. You're going to want to fan them out because this is basically what you're going to want in the back. Okay. And excuse the missing nails. I had some damaged nails, but we'll fix those later today. So you're just going to want to fan them out. Not a complete circle. A little bit here, a little V here, and a little V here is fine. And I just kind of go down here, trying to get this in frame and still hold it good. Right here, go through both layers. And don't worry about anything being perfect because it's all going to be covered up when you layer it. But I start down here, just do a little running stitch. A little bit of effort goes into it because you're working through a few layers of ribbon. And we're just going to do a little running stitch. If they start to not fan out, you just play with them as you go along because they're going to slide around a little bit. So you just do a nice little running stitch all the way through. And that's the nice thing about if your stitching is not perfect, everything's not perfect, it all works out in the end. I am a little OCD and it takes me forever to do a craft, so when I'm like that, so I like these things where it doesn't have to be perfect because then it doesn't take me forever. I'm gonna pull on that and gather it a little bit. So it's showing much my fingers anyway. So anyway, you're going to gather it together. Then you're going to come up through there, your middle, and you're going to wrap it a few times. I do it 3 or 4 times just to make sure it's good. And then go ahead and give it a good yank to make it nice and tight so it doesn't slide around once it's done. Because if you don't do it pretty tight, it's going to tend to slide around when you try to finish your bow, or when it's done. If you don't secure stuff, it's not going to last. So this run a few times. Let's see, then we're going to take this and go through our stitch there. It takes a little bit of effort, like I said, because you're working through a few layers, and I try to keep everything nice and snug. Bring it around and just run it through here a couple times like so to secure it really nice and tighten it. I always do things probably one more time than what's necessary, but I just want to make sure it's not going to fall apart, because kids can be a little rough on things. So, and I feel like it's a waste of time to make something if it's not going to last. I feel like you've wasted your materials and your time if that's, you know, how it works out. So that's pretty good. Set that aside. So like I said, it looks a little, you just got to play with it a little bit, and when you go to put it together, you can play with it more when you finish it up. So there's your spikes. I said you can play with it when you put it together. So we're going to set that aside. The next layer is going to be your bigger bow with a 1.5 inch ribbon. Now you're going to want to make sure that both pieces are pretty uniform so your bow doesn't look wonky. So you're going to want to find the center. An easy way to do that, in half, take the lighter, lightly singe it. Then when you unfold, it's hard to see it because the background's black and the ribbon's black, but you'll have a slight crease here. And it's not going to matter. Even if you singe it a little bit more and the crease is more defined, it's going to be fine because it's going to be covered up. It's basically just so you can, when you go back to work on it, you're going to be able to tell where the middle is. And I'll tell you why you need to know where the middle is. So now we're going to make a double bow. Where your middle is, this is really a poor choice to put this on a black background when I'm have black ribbon. I'm just trying to grab something a little bit lighter. Okay, I'm just going to throw this envelope under here just so it shows up better. Here we go. Yeah, it's much better. So here's your middle. You're going to want to take this, and when you overlap it, you're going to want to go slightly past your crease. And then when you do it with this one, this is a poor color that I chose to do a tutorial, and you're going to want to overlap that a tiny bit too. So there's another needle. So with this, I just go through and secure it like so. Pull it through. It's hard to see. And then let's see if I can find the middle. I apologize, this is taking a couple seconds, but the lighting here in this spot is not the best. I keep thinking I got it in there and I don't. There we go. Secure it. Okay, then you're going to want to do the same thing and do just a little running stitch. You're going to want to make sure you get all 3 layers of your ribbon. Let's just do a little running stitch like so. Oh, sorry, I keep hitting this, making a mess. I'm kind of leaning over the camera a little bit as I do this. I debated whether I was going to do this today because I'm doing a lot of stuff around the house, and I'm like, oh, how about I sit down and do this? And so it's not put together as well. So here's your little middle crease again. Put your ribbon right past it, fold it up, and overlap it again. And then you're just going to want to, don't cut your thread or anything, because you're going to do your double bow. So you come right over here and you do the same thing and do your running stitch. And you know, it's going to be awkward. I've done a lot of these and it's still awkward just because you're working with a few little pieces at a time. Just trying to see where I'm at. I managed to get tangled up here somehow. Oh goodness, what did I do? It gets a little, there we go. See, it just goes to show you I've made a lot of them and I still fumble with it. So, just finish out this running stitch, going through all the layers. And it doesn't matter what color thread you use. It's not gonna show when you're done. So I don't know if I'm not even paying attention to keeping it in frame because I'm just trying to make it. So I can get rid of this because it should be okay from now on. Get the white thread so it'll show. So I just hold it like this to make sure that the sides without the seam. So here's without the seam, here's with the seam, because that's going to be in the back. Hold it between my fingers and then just gather it. And just play with it while you're doing it to try to make it look okay. So do this. A lot of it's just going to be kind of playing with it a little bit. You can always straighten it up later. So we're going to do the same thing and wrap it around here. I wrap it probably about 4 times just to make sure, but that's just me. 3 times is probably fine. So now we're on the back. It's a little awkward here. And I'm not going to worry about it too much right now, because after I secure it, I'll go back and shape it a little bit. So we're going to do the same thing where we go back and secure it and tie it off. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit of effort because you're going through some ribbon and layers and stuff like that. But make sure you go ahead and make sure it's really secure so it's not falling apart. There's no such thing as making sure it's too secure. If you're not sure, go ahead and put one more stitch. It's okay. It's better to have too many than not enough and it falls apart. So here's one more. And we're going to do that. Like I said, I'll do it a couple times just to make sure that it's nice and secure. Especially if you're doing them to sell. The worst thing to do is sell something and then somebody comes back and tells you it fell apart. It's a little embarrassing, and that's not what we're trying to do. If you're doing something to sell, I think most people want to have a quality product. So I'm just going to kind of tug that a little bit toward the middle so it looks kind of even. And even if it's not even, once you stack it, you can just like adjust it, you know, move it over a little bit. Everything's gonna be covered, so see the stitching's over to the side here a little bit, tiny bit more. I can just, when I stack it, like stack the next thing over here a little bit. It'll be fine. So there's your bigger bow. So next we'll go ahead and do the smaller bow. Same exact concept. It's just on thinner ribbon. So when you stack it, the 2 colors are going to show, so it's not covering completely. And this one was cut at 8 inches. This is at 7 inches, so that it's going to be a little bit shorter, and you're going to have it showing over here as well. So we're going to do the same thing and singe it so we know where the middle is. And there's some people that are going to go, oh my gosh, if you singe it, it's going to discolor the ribbon. It won't. It really won't. I mean, if you hold it on there for way too long, it might, but it's only a couple seconds. You're not gonna catch it on fire. I mean, if you're reasonable about it, you're not gonna catch it on fire. You're not gonna burn anything. It's really gonna be fine. I promise. I've made a lot and I haven't caught any ribbon on fire yet. So here we go. Same thing. Slightly over the middle, and then slightly over that piece as well. I'm trying to show here so you can, I don't know if it's showing really well how they overlap slightly. So, ouch. Just poked myself. I knew I was going to at some point. I made this thread a little bit longer than I needed, but that's fine. So again, the running stitch. Oops. Waving me. And like I said, I use the grosgrain. If you're new to doing this, I would recommend doing the grosgrain because it's got some texture and it's a little bit thicker. You can do it with a satin ribbon, but I would recommend waiting till you've done a few because the satin ribbon is a little bit more slippery. I've used both. This is just a little bit easier to work with. I've even mixed the two and it's fine. It turns out fine. And if you have your own little girl in your life that you want to make several for, or like I said, if you're going to make them to sell, it is so much fun coordinating the different ribbons to get different looks and stuff like that. You'd be interested to see like how many color combinations you come up with that look nice, and the different embellishments and stuff. To me, it's a lot of fun, coming up with the different combinations. So again, same thing. We're going to cinch it together here. Trying to get it somewhat even. Like I said, you can always go back and straighten it later. Wrap it around 3 or 4 times, however many times you want to. Now we're on the back, and like I said, make sure you have your unfinished on one side and you're finished on the other side. I mean, if you don't, it's not going to be a terrible disaster, but try to make sure that you do. We're going to go through, loop it a few times. I think if you're making them for a specific little girl too, it might be nice to let them help you pick out the ribbon that you're using, to make them feel involved, even if they're not going to be using obviously the sharp scissors and the sharp needle and the lighter and stuff, but at least they can have a part in making it if they pick the ribbon out. So there's another layer. So on its own, it doesn't really look like much, but once you stack them, it'll look really nice. So I'll get that needle and thread out of the way. The next thing we're going to do is the little loops. We're going to do these loops. There's no sewing on this part. This is all done with hot glue to hold them together. Now with this, you're going to want to do a figure 8. I go ahead and I find the middle again. Once you do a few, you might be able to guesstimate it. I've done a lot. I still do this because, yeah, I'm the one that would have them lopsided, trying to guesstimate. So there's your middle again. And in my video where I showed you some of my hair bows, I have no idea where I got this. I buy my ribbon at the craft stores, online, Walmart, wherever. And I don't remember where I bought this, but I love it because it's got, not showing up here, but it's got a nice little glitter to it, and it's stiffer, so it's much easier to work with. So anyway, you're going to turn it to your wrong side if it has a right or wrong side. Some will be shinier on one side. You're going to put a dollop of hot glue right in the middle, and you're going to want to work fast. You're going to do a figure 8. Glue it down like this. Just going to get this extra glue out of the way until it catches. Now, I wish I showed them. Okay, you can see where it's glittery. You're going to want to make sure that, like I said, if you're using something that has 2 different textures, a shiny and a dull side, see how all on the out is your glitter. Now I'm turning it to the wrong side because that's where I'm gluing. You're going to want to make sure you do the same thing here. Now you're going to go in the opposite direction here. A figure 8. So they're going to be looped in opposite directions. Let me see. Get this just right. It's a little awkward. I haven't done these in a little while. So you're going to want to bring that onto the middle. There you go. Again, your dollop of hot glue. My cord's getting caught a little bit. Sorry if this is a little awkward. It's just I'm going to be rearranging my craft room so that it's a little bit of a better setup for me. And hopefully other tutorials will go smoother. I'm in the middle of switching a couple rooms again around, and I'm going to reorganize my craft room, so hopefully it'll be a little bit easier. So there you go, your figure 8. This is the wrong side. It's concave, and then when you turn it over, you've got your figure 8 like that. So we're going to do the other one just the same. Put our dollop of glue right in the middle on the wrong side. Bring this around. Oops, it's a little awkward. Stick it down. Here's a tip I found too. A lot of people with the hot glue, about burning yourself. I know at the Dollar Tree I've seen them where they sell the little fingertip covers to help. So am I doing that? See, I almost did it the wrong direction. To help you not burn your fingertips when you're working with hot glue. I have found that if you put a nice layer of lotion on your hands before you work with hot glue, if it does get on your hands and starts to burn, you can peel it off really easy and really quick. So a lot of times I'll lotion up my hands really good before I start working with hot glue. So if it gets on my skin, I can whip it off there really fast. So there's your 2 loops. Like that. So now we are going to stack them. So we got all of our pieces here, the spikes, the large bow, small bow, and our loops. So the first thing you're going to do is take your spikes. Like I said, now before you glue it down, kind of mess with the shape. You know, it's not really a perfect shape as long as it looks like a star. So let's just put a dollop of glue right in the middle. A nice decent dollop. You're going to take your large bow, that's going to be your next layer. Stick that right in the middle. You want to hold it till it sticks pretty good. That's distracting me, that glue on my fingernail. Doesn't matter. These are coming off anyway. I just like to double check that my middles are kind of lining up, because once they're really glued down good, you're not going to be able to move it as easy. So yeah, it looks pretty good lined up. So we got those 2 layers together. Next, we're going to actually do the loops. And like I said, you're going to want your right side, make sure your right side's up. So we're going to put a dollop of glue. Oops, not coming off very well. Only thing I really hate about working with hot glue is all those little stringies. So, going to angle it like so. Do it on the diagonal. Try to get some of these strings off. Usually when I finish up a hair bow, I go through and take all those little strings off because they really want to hang out. So there's one. We're just going to do the same thing for the second one. Plop some glue and make sure you have your right side up and put it right there in the middle so you have an X made with your loops. Just going to get off some of this glue while I'm holding it till it sets a minute. So far you've got your 3 layers. That's what it looks like. Now it's time to put the small bow on, and like I said, ordinarily this would be where I put my novelty or printed ribbon, and you can just throw some glue right in the middle of that, and then you just layer that right on top. So there we go. So hold it for a second until it sets. Now, if there's something I left out that you have a question about, or if I didn't explain something really well, you can go ahead and leave a comment saying, oh, I didn't understand this step, or how do you do this, that, and the other. Like I mentioned, I know how to do a lot of crafts, but I don't know how good I am at being a teacher per se. So if I didn't explain something well, feel free to let me know and I'll try to explain it better, or even do a short little video going over something I might not have explained well. So anyway, there's our 4 layers together. So the next thing we're going to do is actually attach it to the barrette, if I can find where I put it. And like I said, I bought these in bulk on Amazon, but if you go to Walmart, I've seen them there in a smaller package. I think there's like 6 or 8. I'm thinking maybe 8 in a package. And I don't know how much they cost because I didn't pay attention. Now, here's your barrette. It's got this little loop here. You're going to want to take that off. It slides right out. Just want to disassemble that. So you have this piece. And set that aside. You've got this. So I just take my barrette, the back of it, put a nice piece of hot glue right there. And I try to center it, eyeball it about the middle. And this you're gonna want to hold for a minute, because with the barrette being smooth, it takes just a little second or two longer for the hot glue to wanna stick. Oh my goodness, the more I try to take this string off, the more it's like mozzarella cheese. It just wants to stretch out more. There we go. I think I got some of it out. So there you go. Alright, so I hope I got it on there straight. It doesn't look like I did, so I'm going to try to. I got it kind of off the. I have it not straight. Should have paid attention better. Because let me see. Here's your. Yeah, it's crooked. So it's fine that I made a mistake, because you know what? It's easy to fix. We're just gonna pull it off. It's on there pretty good. Okay, no big deal. Just gonna put more glue. Thank goodness I realized it before I got further along. This time I'm gonna make sure it's straight. Okay, put it. And there we go. Just gonna hold that down for a second. Try to get it toward the middle. Looks centered pretty good. Just a little bit of extra glue. We're just gonna peel right off. No big deal. A little bit hanging over is not that bad, but you don't want a lot. You can always come back later and peel some of that off. Okay, so I think I got it straight this time. Yep, looks much better. So, get all this yucky glue out of the way. So the next thing we're gonna do is, see how this is just plain here? And then when you turn it, you can see like all the thread and the layers. Like this one doesn't look too bad on the side, but you can see the thread. So we're just gonna finish that off. And that's where the other color, it's pinned, of your 3/8 is gonna come in. And you can just, I just usually just pick a color, something in there. A lot of times I try to pick whatever color I use for my larger bow. But that's just me. It doesn't really matter as long as it's somewhat coordinates. So you're just going to cut off a little length. It doesn't matter. I just cut off this much. It's probably about 3 inches maybe. It doesn't matter because you're going to trim it later anyway. I just move this pin before I knock it on the floor and then end up stepping on it. Because that's how I find stuff that I drop. Okay. So, about the middle of your bow. About your middle. Put a little dollop of hot glue. This keeps wanting to catch on the edge of the table. Take your ribbon. Nothing major, just stick it down there. Give it a little second. You're going to want to come up through your layers. You're going to have to separate your spikes a little bit. Don't tug too much because it's only being held by hot glue, so it will, if you pull on it too hard, it will come off. So I'm going to wrap it around here. Excuse me. Do all the layers. Again, go through the middle of your spikes. And if you're not sure if you have it in the center, remember you have 5 spikes, so just count 5 on each side. Now, don't get too carried away with tugging on it too hard, but pull it pretty firm. You're going to want it pretty firm. Otherwise, it's going to look kind of sloppy. So I'm just holding this with my thumb. I'm going to come over here and do a somewhat small dot of hot glue this time so it doesn't smush all over. And then bring it and I just tug it tight and glue it down. Like I said, I see a little bit of hot glue seeping out on the sides. That's fine because as soon as this sets up a little bit, I'm just going to peel it off. It's not super important because it's on the back of the barrette. I'm actually seeing I don't have it centered, but it's not really going to matter. I make it sound like I'm such a slob doing this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Well, a little bit, but not, it's not major imperative. It's not going to make or break the whole project. I'm just trying to do it a little bit quicker than I usually would. Excuse me. Usually I'd be more careful about centering stuff, but this is just basically for demonstration. So I've got some ribbon left over here. So all I'm going to do is just go in and trim it down. This is the back, so obviously it's not a huge deal. It's hard to see here, the light in here right now. This time of day it's getting kind of weird. Let's see these scissors. I'm gonna get a better pair of scissors. These ones are a little bit more awkward to work with. Oops, piece came off. The must be the sun went behind a cloud, because all of a sudden it got a little bit darker in here. It's harder for me to see. I just set up some different lighting too, because the lighting in this room is not the best. So, little piece. So here's where I cut the ribbon. All I do is take the lighter and singe it again, so it doesn't start to unravel, and then we got these strings poking out. Super easy. So basically, the ribbon is put together, and I just go back and make sure everything's kind of centered a little bit. And it probably to you looks very strange with that black in the middle, but once we put our embellishment, it's going to cover most of it, so it'll be fine. So I'm not going to adjust it too much. I'll adjust a lot of this when I'm completely done. So you might as well go back and put this bar back in it. It slides right back in the same way you took it out. Right there. Come around, you just pull on it a tiny bit and it slides right back under there. And then just make sure it's in there good. There's been a few times I think I have it in there and then it pops out because I don't. So just, like I said, the light's not great. I was thinking about getting a light to put right up over the table, like that sticks on the wall, one of those like bar lights, with the tube bulb, fluorescent tube bulb. Okay, I think I have, for some reason it's not looking right to me. There we go. It's just a little crooked. Oh my goodness. I'm not getting it in there just right for whatever reason. I'm at a weird angle here and I can't see that well. I apologize for the awkwardness here. I could edit it out, but I'd rather just let you guys know that sometimes you have to play with stuff. I think that looks good. Okay, so you got your bar back in there. Basically, that's what's going to hold the hair when you do the barrette. Yep, as long as it comes up here. So, turn it back to the right side. Now, this is where you're going to decide, I don't know, I guess it depends on if you're right or left-handed, like how you're going to put the barrette in the hair from the right or the left. It doesn't matter, but I'm right-handed, so I've got the clip over here to the left because I would probably put it in their hair from left to right. Like I said, it doesn't matter. It's just if it's upside down or whatever, you just put it in from the other direction, I guess. So, enough with that. Here's the button that I cut the shank off. Just go in here and throw a little dot of hot glue, and this is your front, so you're going to want to be careful about not putting way too much. And then you're just going to put her right on there. Make sure it's kind of straight. Like I said, the color is not going to matter that much, but you're going to see a little bit of it, so you're not going to want to get crazy with some, like put a purple or green ribbon. You want it to match a little bit. So she's pretty secure, it's pretty set. So now you're pretty much done. I just go back and play with it and try to make it, hot glue again, try to make it look nice. You're going to want to make sure when you glue it down that you know, your barrette's not showing in the front. A lot of times I go ahead and glue it down to the barrette a little bit more so it doesn't shift around and your barrette's going to show at some point. So I'm just going to like glue some of it down so the barrette doesn't show. I mean, you don't have to. but I do, just to make it look a little bit more finished. And do the same thing over on this side. I didn't get it centered on the barrette perfectly, but as long as it's covered, it's usually pretty good. And if you notice, there probably wouldn't work well on this barrette, but if you make a style that it covers really well, there's little holes in here. You could even stitch it to secure it if you wanted to. I've never found it necessary to do that, but you could if you wanted to. I can't tell if that's the dot from the other side or hot glue. When I'm done, I'll go back and pick off any hot glue. So there's that. So it's pretty much completed. And what I like to do too, to make it look nice, I didn't bring any in with me, but see how these are kind of like flat? I like to, you can take regular hairspray, aerosol hairspray. You take it, fluff it up a little bit, spray some aerosol hairspray, go back and shape it, and it helps it hold its shape a little bit, and it's not too sticky or stiff. It just helps firm up your ribbon a little bit to hold the shape. And this is not the best job I've ever done, but just to try to complete it relatively quick, I just basically tried to get through it and didn't pay a huge amount of attention to everything being even and perfect, but I mean, you get the idea. So that's that. I did want to briefly, before I say goodbye, just show you just a handful of some of the novelty ribbon I have to give you an idea of what's available that you can find. She doesn't stuff fall over. I'll play with it a little bit later and get it just shaped better. Like I stated in my last video where I showed a few hair bows, I'm just going to grab a handful. I'm not even going to pay attention to what I'm grabbing. Just going to grab some out of my little bin here. If you aren't a crafter and you don't want to craft any, you can always message me if you'd like me to make up some for you, and we'll see what we can work out. Here's just some I've purchased from individuals online, eBay, Amazon, craft stores. Just showing a few just so you have an idea of like what you might be able to find out there, the different varieties. Super cute Halloween ribbon. We've got the 7 dwarves, and I just hold these together with a nice little clear like hair rubber bands for when you do braids and stuff. That way it doesn't it holds it, but it doesn't like crease the ribbon, put creases into it. Some Frozen, more Frozen, Minions. Let's see, we got the Wizard of Oz. Like I said, just to give you an idea of all the different designs you can find. Here's some just plainer striped when you go to shop around for some ribbon to make bows with. Some of these I've used, I just don't have the bows anymore. There's that Halloween ribbon I showed with the spiders. Some Tinkerbell. I'll probably go back and put a rubber band on that. Hello Kitty. I have a lot of Hello Kitty ribbon. Princess ribbon. Here's the Disney Princess. It's got all the names on it. This is a satin ribbon. Princess Sophia. Here's some little girls. I think this would be cute for St. Patrick's. It's got a lot of green in it. Another Hello Kitty. This is satin. That's just to give you an idea of like what's available out there. Lost my train of thought for a quick second. Like I said, if I find some eBay sellers that sell like the mixed lots of ribbon, I'll link that as well. I'll link as much stuff as I can find. But I don't know, I lost my train of thought. There was something else I was going to mention. It must not have been that important. I'll think of it after I get done with the video. So I'm going to toss these aside. But as you see, it was pretty. The video's a lot longer than I wanted it to be. But you can, once you get the hang of these, they go relatively quickly, and I will make them in bulk, where I'll just pick out all the ribbons I want to use, cut them to size, put them in the separate piles, make the separate components, and then I'll get the hot glue gun out and just assemble them. So that's an option if you ever wanted to mass produce them. I mean, it's your choice. But I guess that's all I have to say before I ramble on for another hour. Links to items will be in the description box. Hit me up if I didn't explain anything clearly, or if you want some made to purchase. So I guess that's that. Here again, we've got the two. They're made exactly the same, totally different looks. And that's my little tutorial for the stacked hair bows. I love these. I've made a ton of them. I never get tired of making them and coming up with a combination. So hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy my tutorial, make sure you give me that thumbs up, and let me know what you think. You think it's doable? Have you done anything similar? Any thoughts you have? I always love reading, what people have to say. So until next time, stay awesome, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye now.